Hi, and thank you for requesting to join our group on Facebook, the SBA, PPP, and EIDL 2021 community. So we made a promise to you that obviously if you submitted your email that we would give you a video talking to you about business financing options and the stimulus plans. Now, this presentation is sponsored by KGFA Capital Ventures LLC, a business advisory firm, and also Lendinero, which is a fintech company and online business financing platform. So let's get started, and we're going to be talking to you about the options, some tips, and also the stimulus plans. So let's look at the business financing options and the stimulus plans. We're going to go into each one of these into details. We're going to go first look at the PPP outstanding applications. Number 2 is PPP forgiveness. Number 3 is EIDL first-time applicants. Number 4 is EIDL increase. Number 5, EIDL reconsideration. Number 6 is the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. Number 7, alternative financing. Number 8, the future and business credit builder. So let's get started and let's look at each one of these in details. First, PPP outstanding. As many of you know, about 2 weeks ago or a little bit back, they stopped accepting applications for PPP first round or PPP second round. There's only a couple of community banks that are accepting applications to the best of our knowledge at this time. But the majority of the lenders have stopped taking new applications at this time. So a PPP outstanding application is if your application was already submitted to the lender and you got assigned an SBA loan number for PPP, usually called an E-Trans. And you would receive something from the lender that you're working with to obtain PPP first round or PPP second round. So if your application is still in process with an existing lender, you may have a chance of still getting funded via the first round or the second round PPP, only if your application is already in the queue with an E-Trans number, and your lender would notify you of that. Now, sometimes I've seen in the forum that we have here on Facebook that several business owners have said, I got denied and the lender did not provide me a response. And it's really sad, obviously, to tell you this, but if that is the case, more than likely you are declined and you're denied. Unless if you applied with 2 or 3 different lenders and they underwrote the deal differently. But I seriously doubt that one lender from another would underwrite a loan application different, because there are standard guidelines that the lenders needed to follow for PPP. So if your application is still in process, that's good news, and just keep a lookout on the emails from whatever lenders you're working with, whether it's Bluevine, Wells Fargo, Ready Capital, Biz to Credit, etc. Now let's talk about PPP forgiveness. While PPP forgiveness is not a stimulus plan, indirectly it is a stimulus, right? Because let's assume that you obtain $20,000 or $30,000 in PPP, whether it's first round or second round. And now, obviously, there's a certain time frame that you're going to have before you start repaying or before you can apply for your PPP forgiveness. However, if you don't qualify for forgiveness, you're going to have to repay back the money. Yet at the same time, a rate of 1%, it's really a gift what the government has done here to help out businesses like yours. But if you can get the loan forgiven, it's much better, obviously. So I talked to you about PPP forgiveness because you want to prepare yourself for forgiveness time. When you receive an email from the lender indicating that you can apply for forgiveness, you better have your documents ready and know obviously the coverage period. Also what documents you need to have in place. If you have any questions concerning about how to get your loan forgiven, you can contact us at 1-888-505-5835. You see the phone number obviously in each slide. So my suggestion to you is prepare for forgiveness, right? Because if you can obviously get this loan forgiven, the PPP, it's much better for you because you don't have to repay back neither the principal nor the interest on these loans. And that's money that your business is going to save. Let's talk about EIDL first-time applicants. Many of you out there, obviously where I saw a lot in the forums that everybody was going crazy about PPP, obviously because of the forgiveness factor. And we just talked about forgiveness. So if you don't prepare for forgiveness, you're not going to be forgiven. But at the same time, a lot of people on the forums or business owners we're not talking too much about EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan for first-time applicants. So I want to talk to you about the EIDL. If you have not applied for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, I encourage you to do so. And I will tell you why. And let's look at the next slide here. So the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, has never been seen in 100 years, to the best of my knowledge, or I don't think that we will see it in our lifetime. Unless if there's another, obviously, disaster that would happen at a global level, not at a local level, obviously, or a state level or a city level. I'm talking to you at about a global level, obviously, as COVID-19. We've never seen a loan like this before, and we've been doing business financing since 2004. So we've been in the business financing industry for some time, and I've never seen a loan with such great terms. Which leads us to our next slide, and let's look at that for a second. So the EIDL has a 1-year forbearance. That means that for 1 year, you don't have to start making payments on this loan. Number 2, it has a 3.750% interest rate, which is amazing. It's got a 30-year fixed term, and it's got a monthly payment. This is amazing. In the business financing world, not even banks were offering a loan so generous, which obviously the banks and the SBA has always been the best source if you want to get long-term financing or if you want to get low interest rates. So this is just an amazing program. And I'm going to continue talking to you a little bit more about the EIDL. Let's look at the next slide. In the next slide, now what we're looking at here is EIDL payments. So let's assume that you took a loan for $25,000. Your monthly payment would be $115. If you took a loan for $50,000, your payment would be for $231. And if you took a loan for $100,000, your payment would be for $463. Now, I made a little notes right there down at the bottom, and I'm telling you that this is cheaper than a mortgage, a car loan, and guess what? Let's think about this for a second. Your business can produce more than your primary residence or your car. Think about it. If you ever got a mortgage or if you got an auto loan, what enabled you to qualify for that mortgage or an auto loan? Your business, right? Your business, if obviously you're running a serious business and you have either 1040s with Schedule Cs, 1120s, 1065s, pay stubs, W-2s, 1099s, and you needed to submit that paperwork to qualify for a mortgage or an auto loan, that's what enabled you to obtain that loan. And now many people are thinking twice about the EIDL, saying, well, I don't want to apply because I have to repay back that loan, unlike the PPP. Yes, but listen to me. We're not going to see a loan, a business loan, for 30 years at a 3.75% interest rate in the next, I don't know, I would say I don't think we're going to see it in our lifetime again. This is an opportunity to obtain cheap money, very cheap money, to obviously keep your business running and also, well, invest into your business. Now, the SBA has some guidelines as to how you can use that money. As long as you're using the money for the business, you're going to be fine, and as long as you can prove that. So I would think about really the EIDL loan. So if you haven't applied for EIDL and you only applied for PPP, think about it twice, to be honest with you. This is a great loan. We have never seen something like this in the business financing world. Even since the recession of 2008, there was no such stimulus plan as the ones that we are seeing right now for businesses. Now let's continue a little bit more about the EIDL. The EIDL just recently, too, as well, about a month ago. Now, keep in mind, it all depends on the time that you're looking at this video. The time frames can change, but Congress and the SBA approved what's called an EIDL increase. So the maximum loan amount that you were able to obtain in 2020 was $150,000. Now they've increased this to $500,000. Now, I know that not all of you out there can qualify for $500,000 because the SBA looks deep into, obviously, your 2019 tax returns. That is the big, obviously, the deal breaker, obviously, is your 2019 tax returns, okay? But obviously, some of you maybe just got $10,000 or $20,000 in EIDL in 2020 if you did apply, and maybe now you can obtain an additional $20,000. That all depends on the size of your business and the amount of revenues that you're generating. I mean, we have clients that obviously generate $2 million and above. 50% of our clients generate over $2 million, and we knew that $150,000 was not even obviously a band-aid. It wasn't even it wasn't going to stop the bleeding, obviously. It was just maybe a miniature band-aid, obviously. Now with $500,000, it's going to help save a lot of businesses. So now there's the increase. Now, if you want to go ahead and know how to work the increase, give us a call at the 888 number that you're seeing down there below, because obviously they look at your tax returns and other documentation, obviously, you need to have ready. Another stimulus, which is fantastic, and that obviously it's a very specialized stimulus plan, is what just recently came out, and it's called RRF, also known as AKA the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. So if you have a restaurant, or if you're aligned with the restaurant and food industry, you may be able to qualify. And this is, again, I like to use this word, this is a fantastic or an amazing program that we've never seen before. And the best part of it all is that it's a grant. You don't have to repay it back. Also, if you started your business in 2020, which obviously for the other programs, you have to show that you were in business in 2019, but for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, you could obviously have been in business prior to 2019, or if you started a restaurant or a food operation in 2020, you can apply for the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. There's a lot of calculations. If I were to stay on here on this video and talk to you about the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, the RRF, I would be here for at least another 30 minutes or an hour. So we have a pre-qualification form that we utilize to make sure, obviously, that you're going to qualify and how much money you can obtain via this grant. You can, again, call our number, 888-505-5835, and we'll answer any of those questions. Again, this is just an amazing program. As you know, many restaurants had to shut down during COVID, and also many restaurants had initiated new operations in 2020 that were not able to lift off ground, or perhaps were not able to operate at full capacity that were affected by COVID, and the government launched this program as a grant, not as a loan. And in fact, per location, they can go up as high as $5 million per location. This doesn't mean that every location is going to get $5 million, because there is a lot of financial document that they request for this program. Now, this leads us to the next slide, which is alternative financing, business credit builder, I call it, in the future of your business. While there's all of this government funding that's taking place, which is amazing and fantastic, sooner or later this is going to come to an end, unless if the economy does not recover as fast, and maybe Congress goes back and somebody proposes some sort of legislation to continue more stimulus. Otherwise, it's going to come to an end. And sooner or later, obviously, your business is going to need financing. And if you don't have financing, or if you've never had business financing in place, this is probably a good time to begin thinking about the future of your business and financing options for your business. So how do you do that, right? And by doing that, by obtaining financing for your business, obviously via alternative means, you're going to build business credit for your business. So how do you do that? Obviously, as I said before, I went back and I talked to you about the EIDL, how a 3.75% interest rate in a 30-year loan is amazing. You're going to have to go ahead and understand that alternative financing is much more expensive than any government stimulus program. So this is what I encourage you to do, is let's assume that you get approved $20,000 for a alternative business financing program. Don't take $20,000, maybe take $3,000, $5,000. Or if you got approved for $100,000, take $10,000, $20,000. And all that this is going to do is enable you to establish business credit with an existing lender or different lenders, depending on how you're working. And in that case is, as the future obviously begins to kick in, let's say 6 months from now, a year from now, at least you've established that credibility and you've developed a relationship with a business lender. So when it's time for you to obtain more money because all this stimulus money has run out, then you're ahead of the game because you've already established that credibility and you've established that relationship with a lender. We obviously provide business loans. I'm not going to lie to you, and you don't have to come to us. We are an option, but we always do these things to provide, obviously, advice and to provide information. Now, if you give us your business, then we'll be more than happy to cater to you. So we are an option for that too as well. Now we go to this next slide, which is the game plan in the future. And I talked to you about financing, alternative financing. And here I'm talking to you about financing an integral part of any business. And I want to address that there's only 3 forms of cash influx into a business, which is 1, sales, 2 is debt, and 3, investors. So let's look at these 3 areas. So if you want to obviously pump money into your business, either you need to sell more. You need to sell more, and obviously sales are revenues, and you're going to get obviously more money into your business. The question is, do you have a game plan to sell more? If you don't, soon I'm going to be launching a proven formula that has helped us obviously increase sales year over year and even during the time of COVID. So 1 is sales, 2 is debt. And obviously we've seen that all these stimulus programs is debt. So you have the PPP, the IDL, the RRF. Those are all debt instruments, what we call, and also alternative financing, which I talked to you about. And there's nothing wrong with debt. Every business that grows sooner or later takes on debt. As I mentioned to you, over 50% of our clients generate over $2 million per year, and they all take some sort of debt. Sometimes they even take 2 or 3 different forms of debt, such as a business line of credit, government programs such as the SBA programs, and also alternative financing. Why? Because they work with money, obviously, and they see debt as they use debt as a hybrid solution to obviously tap into different sources when needed. So you should have a game plan as to how to work with debt. If you know how to work with debt and how to obviously make money with debt, it's going to help your business. And last is investors. And investors is also another option, which we've heard of: angel hair investors, venture capitalists, family and friends. That's also an option. And it's a little bit more difficult sometimes to obtain investors. And investors can be difficult, obviously, because sometimes they want to take 20 or 30% ownership of your business, or they want a really high return, or they want to have some sort of control and management of your company. So I always leave investors as the last option, to be honest with you. And I always like to focus on sales or debt because you have more control. So this concludes our presentation on business financing options. This was a very fast video because if I were to touch upon each area that we talked about, I could expand anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour on any one of these programs and give you more tips, give you more information about each one of these programs. But I want you to know how you can utilize all these tools for your business. Now, listen to the word that I said, for your business. If you go out and you buy a new car, unless if you really need it, and obviously it's going to generate money for your business, and the SBA allows that to as well, then obviously you're not obviously using the money for your business. So when you're taking on this money, it's either obviously to survive and to keep the doors open because you suffered, or you obviously are able to achieve that also to as well sustain your business, which is number 2, or number 3 is invest back into your business to boost sales, and thinking of new strategies that you can implement, and looking for ways to generate new income and generate return on investment, so that way you can obviously make money to repay it back as fast as possible. This concludes obviously the presentation, and if you have any questions, again, I was very brief. I don't want to be here for an hour and bore you to death. I'm upon each area as fast as possible so you know what's available and how to take advantage of each tool that is out there, obviously through the government stimulus programs and alternative options. Again, this was brought to you by KGFA Capital Ventures LLC and also Lendinero. We have been in business since 2004. We have great reviews in Trustpilot. We've helped a lot of businesses obtain EIDL, PPP, and all these programs that we talked to you about, plus alternative financing. We have a business advisory unit, and we also have an online business financing unit. That way, we can cover both areas. Feel free to contact us at 888-505-5835. So again, thank you. This was a very fast video. For some of you too as well, it was a little extensive, and here to help you out. And we wish you good luck with your business and obviously what's coming in the months ahead, and use all these tools to help out your business. Again, thank you. And my name is Gil, and I am the co-founder of these companies and also the forum here online. Have a great day, and always stay positive.